So if you're not already logged in, hopefully you're close to being there. We're not going to do anything with them right this second, but it makes it a lot faster if people are getting that done right at the beginning of class rather than when we're actually ready to use it and move forward. What I want you to do right now, take about minute and a half. I've got 4 graphs up here. Come on in, dear. There's 4 graphs. I want you to figure out for yourself which one you think does not belong. When I was little and I used to watch Sesame Street, we don't have to get into how long ago that was. They used to do a little segment on Sesame Street called One of These Things Is Not Like the Other. So that's kind of what I want you looking for. Which one of these doesn't look like it belongs or fits with the others? And after you decide which one you think that is, I want you to move to the corner of the room that is labeled for that graph. So A is over by the door, B is right up here by the board, C is by these windows in the back, and D is in the other corner. There is no right or wrong answer here, but I want you guys to make a decision, and within about the next 2.5 minutes, make a decision, pick one, and move to that spot in the room, okay? Has everybody picked a spot? Yep, okay. I want you to have a small conversation in your group about why you guys chose that. What was your reason for choosing that? And then here in just a moment, you will pick a spokesperson, and we're going to find out what was the overall reasoning of the people in your group for why you made that selection, okay? All right, hopefully you guys have had enough time to talk to your group members. Somebody from Group A, who's going to be the mouthpiece for Group A?
Whoa.
Those of you that chose A, why did you pick that? What was your thinking?
All the anybody's are together in some sort of line, and A is the only one that's spread out.
A is much more spread out. Absolutely. That scatter plot is much more spread out. All right, B. I know there's only 2 of you guys. Why did you guys choose B?
Because of that outlier.
Because of the outlier, that one dot that's off all by itself? Yeah. So those of you that chose Group A, all the others are kind of clustered together. There's a somewhat recognizable shape going on. A doesn't seem to have that. B, you guys saw that outlier, and none of the others have an outlier. Jose, you were my only one in Group C. Explain why you picked Group C.
Because the other ones are going in one direction. Like A is spread out, but it's still positive. B is positive. B is negative. But C, it goes negative and then positive.
So what he saw was that on C, it has almost a curved shape to it. So if you just look at the left-hand part, it looks like it has a negative correlation. It looks like it's going down. But if you only look at the right-hand part, it looks like it's going up. All the other graphs, even A, that's very spread out, as you move from left to right, it is getting higher and higher. It's still very spread out, but as you move along, those dots are rising overall. Love it. All right, Group D. Tell me why you guys chose D.
Because it's negative and the rest are mostly positive.
Absolutely. That one seems to have more of a negative correlation. A, B, and the majority of C have a positive correlation. Love it. You guys can go ahead and take your seats again. We are going to be creating and then analyzing some scatter plots. If you open up your books to page 51, page 51, you'll see 3 columns of data. To make our scatter plots, you guys are going to take those 3 columns and you're going to enter all of that data into a blank Google Sheet. So I need you to go to Google Sheets. You're going to click on a blank one. I do want you to include the labels for each column. So you're going to start with the word age, and then you'll put in all of the data in that column. And then you're going to do another column for mileage, and you're going to put all of that data in. And then you're going to do the same thing for price, okay? I'm going to give you guys a little bit of time to get that put in, and I'll move around the room in case you guys are having any difficulties getting that data put in there. So while you guys are entering your data, I don't want to interrupt you or distract you at all. But what you're doing right now, this is all data for different cars that were listed for sale on Craigslist. Jane is wanting to sell her car. She has a Subaru Forester. But she's not really a car person. She wants to sell it. She doesn't want to just get rid of it. She wants to make as much as she can off of it, but she's just not sure what a good price would be. If she sets it too high, she's afraid nobody's going to call. So she's doing a little bit of research. And she got on Craigslist and looked for other cars like hers, other Subaru Foresters that were for sale on Craigslist. And she wrote down 3 pieces of information about each of these cars that she found for sale. This is real data actually from Craigslist. It's kind of old at this point. This was collected in June of 2012. So it's pushing 10 years old, but it is real world data. She wrote down the age of these different vehicles. She wrote down the mileage of these different vehicles, and then she wrote down what the asking price was, or what people were trying to sell them for. She's trying to crowdsource some information as far as like, how should I price my car so that it'll sell? We're going to use this information to help analyze that and see if we can come up with an answer for her. So I'm curious, as people are starting to finish up here, why do you think these are the 3 pieces of information she recorded? Yes, ma'am.
They're the most relevant towards pricing the car because the older it is and the more mileage it has will affect how high or low the price will be.
Absolutely. 2 cars that are the same year, but one has high miles and one has low miles, the low mileage car is going to be worth more. 2 cars that are different ages but have the same miles aren't necessarily going to be priced the same, but they would be like lower miles is going to affect the price in a positive way. It's going to be a higher price for low miles, lower price for high miles. Same thing with age. The newer it is, the more expensive it is, usually. The older it is, the cheaper it is. So she grabbed these pieces of information. And what would you expect if we graphed all of this? I'm not going to have us do it by hand because it's 22 different cars. What kind of a trend would you expect to see? Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Thank you, sir.
The number of the ages are how old they are?
Yep, that's how old the car is.
Isn't sometimes the old cars are like, if it's a really good, like, you know, old car, it's sometimes expensive. You know?
Yeah. So like some of those really old classic cars, absolutely. When we're talking like just big trends for all the cars that have ever been made, the pattern usually holds that the older it is, the cheaper it gets. But there are always exceptions to that. Like if you had a mint condition 1968 Corvette that was beautiful, the paint was never scratched, the interior's perfect, yeah, that's probably going to be pretty expensive. But if I had a mint condition like little Ford hatchback, it's not going to be the same kind of thing. But yeah, that's a great point to bring up. Yes, ma'am.
Do you know how to bring this up? I don't know why it went down by itself. The data.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, I do. And this is all your mileage?
Mhm.
Okay. So we're going to highlight all of this. go the wrong way on these. All right, and we're going to do it like this. There we go. Now it should be in there correctly.
And this one too.
Yep.
It just keep going down.
Yeah, I don't know why. It's kind of weird. All right, and then we'll put in some headers because you definitely want to know what your different numbers are standing for there. Oh, that was not supposed to go like that. All right. There we go. Now it all matches up. So now we're going to insert a row right here. And so now in that row right there, put age and mileage and price.
Thank
All
you.
right. Is there anybody that's not done putting their data in yet? Okay, still a couple people. We are going to make a scatter plot here. We're actually going to make two different scatter plots because we know there's two different variables, two different things that can affect the price. And I want to look at each of those because for Jane, I want to help her figure out which of these is a better predictor for how she should price her car. So to make this scatter plot, those of you that aren't done putting your data in yet, that's okay. I'm going to get this up here. So I'll make this bigger here in just a moment so that everybody can see it. But I want to walk through it with you the first time where you can see me doing it also. So I have this same information in my own Google Sheet. Both of these have to do with the price. So I know I want the price as part of my scatter plot for both of them. Let's do an age and price graph first. Here's how I make an age and price scatter plot. Do you guys see where it's the column letter? Like this first column is column A. I'm going to click on the letter A. I don't want to click on any of my data. I'm going to click on the letter A, and it'll highlight that whole column. And then I want to compare that to price. So I'm going to push Control, and then I'm going to click on the column where I have my price. You have to hold the Control key at the same time that you do this. And it'll let me highlight both of them at the same time. Is anybody having trouble getting the two columns highlighted?
Can you do it again?
Yep. So you're going to click. Again, you want to click the letter that's just always there in Google Sheets. None of the stuff that we typed in. So I'm going to click on A so that it highlights all of the age. And then I have price in column C. If you put some space in between your columns, it's wherever your price information is. Hold down the Control key and then click the letter above where you started typing. And it should highlight both of those columns. So far, so good? Go to where it says Insert up at the top. Click where it says Insert. And do you see where it says Chart? Click Chart. Google is going to try to guess what kind of chart you want. On mine, it guessed correctly that I want a scatter chart. Sometimes it guesses wrong. If yours does not look like mine, right here, do you see where it says Chart Type? If it gave you something other than what mine looks like, click this little drop-down menu until you see Scatter Chart. You want to choose Scatter Chart. All right, so I'm going to come around and make sure that everybody can get their graphs made. Oh, there you go. Yep. Wonderful. Beautiful. Awesome. You're still working on your data. Okay, so yours says no data. So go ahead, put that right there. I'm going to delete this table for now. So put the three dots. Go to the chart. So click where it says A. Yep. Perfect. Now, you're going to come over and hover above this one. Don't click anything there. Hold the Control key and then click on it. There you go. Now click on Insert and choose Chart. There you go. All right. Is anybody not able to get a scatter chart? click that letter E above where it says price. Yep, now go to insert. And choose chart. There you go. Here's the line chart. Click this right here. And you want, yep, scatter chart. Perfect. All right. We only want 2 columns. So we're going to unselect this data here. So I'm guessing you guys have to press shift instead of control. So just hit control and then click. You have to hold control while you do it. It's okay. Click the letter A. There you go. Now do it again. Or you do insert and chart. What do you guys notice about this chart? Like this scatter plot, what do you think of it?
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere. Do you notice any general trends?
It's like it's going, yeah, it's negative.
It's negative. Does that fit what we would expect to see?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
where it is, so yeah.
So down here on the bottom, this is the age of the car. Over here, on the left-hand side, that's the price of the car. So here's very new cars. Their prices are higher. And it moves down. 12-year-old car, they're not asking a whole lot for it. I want to compare this to a scatter chart for the mileage and the price. So we're going to do another one of these. So I'm going to click on this chart and I can move it. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. I want to move my chart elsewhere on my page. If you click on it, if it has a blue box around it, it'll let you move it. Just get it out of the way so you can still see your data. It does not matter where you put it for right now.
Insert.
So now you want to highlight the mileage and the price. So click where your mileage is, and then you have to do the control and click for the price again. My computer apparently has to think about itself for a while. And then you'll do another insert chart. There we go. Get them both highlighted, insert chart. All right, so now I'm going to scoot this over. I want to be able to see both of them on my screen at about the same time. All right, hopefully yours look like mine. I have the price versus mileage first, and then the price versus age. Do you guys have yours up?
Yeah.
Cool. What do you notice about this one?
It seems like it's still negative, but it's way more spread out.
You think this one's more spread out?
Yeah, so I feel like there's a higher chance that even if she does have a lot of mileage, she probably could still get a higher price for it.
If she had to pick just one of these to use to help price her own car, which one do you think she should go with, the mileage or the age? Which one do you think has a stronger relationship?
Mileage.
You think mileage has a stronger
I feel like
relationship?
The car is 12 years old, but they ain't never been drove like that before.
Yeah, you can still get good price.
It's still in good condition.
Mm-hmm. I could argue it either way. I think you could make an argument either way. I think they're pretty close here. So I want you guys to flip to page 53 now that you've gotten all your data put in. Flip to page 53. So I'm going to show you guys how to do something called the correlation coefficient. Keep your computers up because we're going to click on some stuff here. Your graph looks different? For the correlation coefficient, you've got a couple outliers in there. I'll help you find them. It's just some data that you put in there slightly incorrectly. You don't have to remake the graph. Once we find those and fix those, it'll fix your graph. Okay? Give me just a moment and I'll help you find that. All right. For the R value, we're going to do this on both of the graphs. Click on the graph so that you see the 3 dots pop up.
The 3 dots.
These 3 dots right here, or if you double click on it, this is what we want to pop up, this edit chart right here. Do you guys see that?
Yeah.
Okay. If you double click the graph, it'll come up, or if you click on the 3 dots, that'll let you have an option to edit the chart. Do you guys see where it says series? Click on that.
I don't see that. Oh, never mind.
Sorry, you have to be in where it says customize.
Yeah,
If it's just in the setup, you won't see it. But if you click on customize, then you go down to where it says series. I want you to scroll down until you see a checkbox for trend line. Click that checkbox. And now a whole bunch of other options just popped up for us, right? Look at your graph. Look at what happened when you clicked that box. What did it do? It made a line. That's the line of best fit. Have you guys estimated that in other classes before?
Like the line that goes straight through it?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So we have our trend line up. I'd really like to know the equation for that trend line. Keep scrolling down until you see where it says label. Click on that drop-down menu, and it gives you the option to use the equation. Click on that there where it says use equation. And the last thing you need to click on, do you see this little box right down here where it says show R squared?
Yeah.
Click on that. I'll explain what all this means in a minute, but I want to make sure that everybody has this first. We're going to do the same thing for the other graph. So once you have your trend line, you told it to use the equation and to show R squared. Click on your other graph. Make sure it's on Customize. We're going to go to Series. Scroll until you see the checkbox for the trend line. And then keep scrolling down. Label is how you get it to show you the equation. And then I also want to click the box for show R squared. All right, that's all the information that we need now on our graphs. I can put that little thing away so that I can just look at these graphs. All right, I don't like how Google squishes this together, but this part right here is R squared. You see it says R squared equals. What do you notice about those numbers? Are they far apart from each other or pretty close together? They're pretty close together. This is called the correlation coefficient. Technically, we have to take the square root of it. We'll do that on Monday. Looking at these two, though, the one that is closer to the number 1, which one is closer to 1? Yeah, the one for price and age. That means that technically, statistically, price and age are a better predictor than price and mileage. Not off by a whole lot because those numbers are really close together, right? So really, either one of these would give us a reasonably accurate prediction of a good price. The part that's in front of the R squared, this right here, this is my equation. The price should be equal to, and on this first one here for age and price, it's negative 1,482x plus 24,248. And then over here, I have this equation. So price is equal to that. So far, so good? They don't put the equal sign there, but its price is equal to that equation. So on question number 2 in your book, I want you guys to just pay attention to the R value right now, that R squared number, and I want you to describe what you see and what that has to do with the strength and the relationship. Talk about whether it's a positive or a negative correlation. This doesn't have to be full sentences. You guys can just do bullet points. So jot down some bullet points about what you notice in the graph and how that relates to that R-squared value. What is the R-squared value for each of these? And what kind of relationships do you notice? Again, you can just do bullet points. You do not need to do full sentences here. All right, we found our equations for both of these. On question number 3, let's write down both of these equations. As soon as I switch screens here, I'm going to need somebody to read that to me because I lose all my information. Okay, so for the price versus age, we had that the price is equal to, I remember that it started with a negative, but I don't remember the numbers that came after that. Can somebody read it to me?
1,482 plus 24,248.
24,248, like that? What do you think the X means here? The age. All right, then I want to write down an equation for the price versus mileage. So the price of the car can be predicted by or is equal to negative, and I remember this one started with a decimal, so it's 0 point something.
0.1833x plus 24,266.
24,266. So I want you guys to remember, reach back to Algebra 1 for me. What's that number on each of these that doesn't have an X with it? What would we call that? Not an exponent. Close. What form are these written in? Yeah, this looks like y equals mx plus b. What does b represent? The y-intercept. The starting price of the car. Look at those two starting prices. That would be a brand new car that's never been driven. 0 years old, 0 miles. Are they very far apart? No. Yeah, it's like $20 difference. Not even $20 difference, right? It's like $18. Yeah, that's not enough to haggle over. Very close to the same. I want to use these equations to try to help Jane come up with some predictions. This is where we're ending for today. We know that her car is 9 years old. And then we also know that it has 95,000 miles on it. What should I do with the 9 years old part? Substitute. Substitute it in for what? In for X. Into which equation? The red one or the purple one? Red. Because that's our one that has age. So instead of this saying an X right here, I'm going to substitute the number 9 in instead. And then I'm going to pop this in my calculator. I want you guys to do that as well. Pop that in your calculator. If she only bases the price of the car on the age, ballpark, she should ask about how much for her car. $10,910. What if she wanted to price it based on the mileage? What would we do then?
Do the same equation, but substitute the X for the,
In the same equation?
the price versus mileage.
Yes, we're going to do price versus mileage, so the purple one here. And we're going to substitute the mileage, that 95,000 in here. So I want you guys to use that now to calculate about how much she should ask for her car.
Your half should be
Is this what she's actually going to get for her car?
No.
Not necessarily, but it does give us a good estimate, a good place to start.
Yeah.
Did you guys get something around 11,000?
Yeah.
$11,631. So if she thinks she's got like lower mileage than the other cars, she might want to go with that price, even though it's a 9-year-old car. If she's worried about the condition of her car, maybe she prices it based on the age. You guys do have homework over the weekend that's based on these ideas right here. I will post directions for how to make the scatter chart and how to get that line of best fit so that you can use that with your own data to make some predictions. All right? I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. Please stay hydrated, guys. The heat index is supposed to be stupidly high tomorrow. So take water with you wherever you go.